signals, and I built a smartphone app that let you send those signals to let you steer a horse, and it worked. And I probably had the easiest job of the three of us, because when I made things, I had them do them. But the key part was this. We were building prototypes. They had to work for 1 day of filming, and we'd be there for it. But they had to work on that day, or the TV show would be terrible and we'd have wasted a lot of money. And we basically had no time to build them. We were working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and by the end of production, we had no time. We were bodging. And the bit of software that helped me on that show and since more than anything else was called AutoHotkey. AutoHotkey is such a good bodging tool that it sometimes gets detected as a virus. AutoHotkey was originally meant to be really, really simple. It waits until the user presses a certain key, and then it starts a program, or it types some longer text, or it presses a more complicated series of key commands that'd be really difficult otherwise. Like if you wanted your F10 key to make your video game character suddenly spin 180 and fire, got it, no problem, AutoHotkey was it. Thing is, AutoHotkey grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and its scripting language, the stuff you have to write in to make it work, is terrible. I mean, really awful. It was meant to do really simple things, and over time it's gained the ability to do so much. It can read files, it can look at the color of individual pixels on screen, it can call arbitrary Windows DLLs, it can parse regular expressions for anyone who knows what those are, but it's all in this weird, non-standard way that is inspired by Visual Basic. AutoHotkey is a bodge that helps you make other bodges, but it works. And it means that instead of having to spend hours of time diving into complicated operating system level stuff, you just write a few lines of script and it does the job. I used AutoHotkey on the TV show to control the release of a skydiver's parachute, and it worked. I mean, really well. I mean, it means we had a reserve, but it worked. The greatest bodge I ever pulled for that TV show involved, I swear this is true, a voice synthesizer and a copy of Sibelius on a Mac being remote controlled by AutoHotkey on a Windows PC, which was blindly dragging the mouse around, doing pre-recorded movements through a remote desktop connection, while another PC fired commands to a Google Chrome window open on the Mac over Wi-Fi, because AppleScript and all the similar tools for Mac that we needed to run on Sibelius just weren't up to doing something that ridiculous. And by the way, if anyone out there suggests using Linux, no. The world loves emoji. I mean, seriously, individual people might not, sure, I don't really use them myself, it's like keyboard, but the world loves them. People click on headlines about emoji. Just putting the word in a headline means you get way, way more hits on it. Emoji is basically the Donald Trump of computers. There's a joke that won't date well. I mean, the very name is clickbait. You don't really need anything else on top of it. My friend Matt, who is behind the camera right now, say hi, Matt. Hi. Matt and I made an emoji-only messenger last year, and hardly anyone used it. No, that's not true. Loads of people used it for about 5 minutes before they realised it was utterly impractical and never opened it again. But you should have seen the press coverage, the emails we got. We even got confused investors thinking it was a startup and emailing us to talk about equity. So this year, movie studios were bidding on an emoji-based pitch. Not mine, sadly. I wish I'd thought of it, because they got nearly $1 million for it. The world loves emoji. And here's the thing, the concept of emoji, as we know it today, added on this keyboard, is a bodge. You might know the story. Around the world, every language had a different way of translating between letters and binary code, ones and zeros for computers. Now, Japan had a bit of space in its text encoding scheme. They've got a lot more characters than the Latin alphabet anyway, so adding a few more wouldn't really have been a problem. And some clever engineer thinks, hang on, we can put little pictures in our text encoding, we can let people send those. And we can send pictures without actually having to send pictures in order to battle with stuff in text. So there are a few competing versions of that, but they never left Japan until the Unicode Consortium came in. Now, the Unicode Consortium's job is to go to every country to work out how they encode text into binary and turn all of these hundreds of competing approaches into one big worldwide standard. And the most amazing thing about it is that, for the most part, they actually managed to make that work. But Unicode was meant to be two ways. You convert text into Unicode, then convert it back out into your country's old legacy system, and nothing should be lost. So the Unicode team get to Japan and go, oh, you put pictures in your text, okay. We can deal with that. We'll add them to the standard as little blips, that's fine. We'll put a smiley face in there anyway, no one will notice. And no one does notice really for a little while until Apple, who want to sell iPhones in Japan, quietly add emoji as a fairly hidden option. But as soon as one person notices, hey, I can send little piles of poo to my friends, all the friends go, oh wow, how do you turn that on? And suddenly you have this kind of ready-made viral explosion of piles of poo. Which I guess is norovirus. So suddenly the world has emoji, and America is all, what the hell are these? Because they're used to having consumer electronics, text encoders, everything designed by America for America. They have no idea what the cherry blossom stamp is, or why there's a rice ball emoji, but no burrito. And they have no clue what a love hotel is, because bear in mind, these original ones were designed decades ago, in Japan, for Japan, and there were originally only about 100, maybe 150 of them. And America's like, well, why can't we have a burrito emoji? They mostly think it's an Apple thing, not an international standard thing. So the Unicode consortium suddenly finds itself having to bodge in new emoji. And they have to bodge in the flags of all nations, which is a really clever approach actually, where you're actually sending letters for country abbreviations, that's a separate thing. Then they realise every phone supplier has made the default emoji either yellow or just plain white, and realise they have to bodge in what are now called skin tone modifiers. And let's face it, a one man, one woman, one boy, one girl family is really stereotypical. So they make it that you can use something called a zero width